Hello everyone, Douglas Waltz, Old Man Comic Book Review. It's been a couple weeks. I was shooting my movie 1 week. There was another week where my camera person wasn't up for it, so 3 weeks. Look at it. Let's get in it, shall we? First up we have number 29 of the New Mutants. And let me get a lovely breakdown for you. Danny Lohr is the writer. Guillermo Sana is the artist. So we're not our normal group. It's a sketchier art form. It has people looking for other mutants, and to be honest, I don't know anybody in this book. It felt like a filler to me. So, that's okay. Filler comics are fine. And I didn't, that's okay. Next up we have Captain America Sentinel of Liberty. We have writers Jackson Lansing and Colin Kelly. Artist is Carmen Carnero. Steve Rogers is going to try to be himself. Goes and sees his friend Bucky. Gives him a hug. And tells him he needs his help because the Shield, as we last learned, has secrets. So this was a really good comic book. There's very little Captain America in it. And the way that he deals with the silver monster guy from the last couple issues is kind of unique. He treats him like he's an ally, not a villain. So we're going to find out what happens soon. It's a pretty good Captain America book. Best one I've read in a while. Dead Lucky, number 2. Our robot controller with the PTSD. Where are our people? There we go. Writer is Melissa Flores. Artist is French Carlo Magno. And everyone is after our star robot pilot in this. It's a really cool science fiction look at superheroes that have robots, and they know a little bit of what they're doing. And the PTSD portion of it is very interesting, how they deal with that in the comic book. It's a neat book. Alright. Ghost Rider number 6 versus Wolverine. Enough said. It says it right on the cover. It says enough said. So we have Benjamin Percy is the writer. Brent Peoples is the artist. And Wolverine has shown up to perform a adamantium exorcism on Johnny Blaze and that weird freaky thing in his head. Also, the guys from the Midnight Suns are here. I've not been a Midnight Suns fella. So we finally got rid of the demon that's been crawling around in Johnny's head by cutting it out. So, there you go. A lot of Marvel. Here we go. Number 6, She-Hulk. I keep seeing this 90s vibe. And if you haven't been watching the show, it's awesome. To all you haters out there, you don't remember what CGI looked like in the year 2000. Rainbow Rowell is the writer. Luca Maresca is the artist. And She-Hulk is hanging out with her friend Hellcat, Patsy. And Kurt Wagner needs some help, so he went to see her, and her boss was upset at first, but now she realizes that she's going to have all the business from the X-Men. And they are a sovereign nation of Krakoa, so that's kind of cool. Then she hooks up with her friend Jack of Hearts. Not that kind. Oh well, actually, there's a little hooking up going on with Jack of Hearts. So, and he hasn't gotten rid of his shirt yet. So apparently some hanky-panky going to be going on. Great stuff. Twig. I do believe this is issue 5, and it is, and it's the final issue of this series. Written by Scotty Young, drawn by Kyle Strahan, where Twig just has to get to the place with the gem to start everything over, and he has to sing a song to do it, and when he does it, it's very pretty. And come to find out, everyone's like, oh, and then he'll be the one. His job is very important. but he's really just running back up for the actual hero, and that's kind of neat. So I like that a lot. They said Twig will return. Scotty Young's one of the busier writers on the planet, so I don't know. We'll see. And the final Moon Girl one-shot, X-Men and Moon Girl, leading us up to a new series, Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, because she is looking for her dinosaur, who the High Evolutionary is trying to steal. Mohale Mashigo is the writer. David Cutler and Marika Cresta are the pencilers. Jose Marzan Jr. and Marika Cresta are the inkers. So 5 people for this book. And so yeah, I just basically told you what happened. She has to save her dinosaur. She is there to save her dinosaur. They have to fight the High Evolutionaries, Animen. She finds out that there was a planet in perfect synchronous orbit that High Evolutionary made. It's New Earth. So she's not the smartest kid around. She doesn't even know about that. But she makes a deal with High Evolutionary, takes her dinosaur home, and coming in December, Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur #1. Hooray! Wow, Godzilla. We finish up Godzilla with the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. #5. I do believe this is the final issue. Let me take a look. I don't know. Story by Cullen Bunn. Art by Freddie E. Williams II. Rita and her friends have managed to get Ghidorah on their side. Green Ranger has gotten loose so he can get to his Zord. Godzilla is still very good at kicking Ghidorah's behind. So we get Megazords, we get Godzilla, we get Ghidorah, we get art that looks like this. It had to just be a fight. The whole thing literally had to be a fight. And Rita is apparently falling through dimensions by the end of it, so it's the end with a question mark. But the Power Rangers help save the day, and Godzilla helped them. And I should have gotten, this is the cover I got. There's this really cute cover where it's just kids playing with the toys that I should have got. Maybe I'll pick up a copy just to have it. I don't know. Well, this one took a while to get out. This is Jonna and the Unpossible Monsters, #11. Part that sucks about that, you ask? I know you didn't ask. This is the penultimate issue. Next issue is it. Written by Chris Samney and Laura Samney. Art by Chris Samney. Last we left Jonna and their sister. They were surrounded by monsters. And Jonna was going to fight all the monsters. We also learned why Jonna is what Jonna is and where all these monsters are coming from on our planet. And now they have to take care of business, and Jonna believes that they can save everyone. And they promise us that very soon the final issue will be out, and then it will be over, and we will all be sad. Here we are. Wonder Woman, issue 791. Let me get the deets out here, though. I seem to remember them making those as tiny as humanly possible. Maybe. Hold on. News break while I take a better look. I think it's on the back page. Hold on. If I remember correctly. Hold on. Yes, it was on the back. Michael W. Conrad and Becky Cloonan are the script. Marguerite Sauvage does the art. The art is different. I like the art a lot. They're going into the jungle after this flower that does things, and they're doing tests on it with all of these other creatures to see what it does. And one of the creatures they do it to is cheetah. So we'll see how that goes. The cheetah reminded me a lot of the Cheetah Woman from the Sheena comic book, if you may remember that. All new, all different. Savage Avengers #5. It's our guys. David Pepos is the writer. Carlos Magno is the artist. When last we left Conan, he was staked out, crucified, whatever you want to call it, by Thulsa Doom, who has shown up to take over the entire multiverse. Venom turns, or not Venom, Anti-Venom turns into a big dragon. He's got the hots for Dagger from Cloak and Dagger. We find out, or he finally tells us, Deathlock shows up to help save the day because he's actually Miles Morales. So, And then they left us with a lovely glimpse of next issue, where they're in a whole new time zone. I'll leave it at that. I'm not giving you anything else. All right. Number 3, Mad Balls versus Garbage Pail Kids. We have writer Sholly Fish, artist and colorist Jason Crosby, and it's the block party where they all get together and have food. Mad Balls, Garbage Pail Kids, the regular humans, and our normal people, the people who don't like that there are Mad Balls and Garbage Pail Kids in the neighborhood, decide to try and start a food fight. And so there's a giant food fight. The art for this is just hilarious. It's like a flashback at this point to like the late 80s, early 90s. It's just great. The food fight goes well. And then there's a little court drama in one where people were mad because they didn't realize that the garbage man took the garbage. So the Mad Balls didn't take the Garbage Pail Kids' garbage. They thought the garbage man left the garbage. It's still cute. Speaking of cute, Orcs, The Curse. Number 3, created, written, and illustrated by Christine Larson. We finally meet some elves, and we get an elf orc team up because Pez is all alone because everyone's mad at Pez for making the big guy drink the potion that gave him farts that made women attracted to him, and he's gay. So they have to fight a monster, and it's got big giant, it looks pretty girl, but it's got big giant tentacles for a butt, and it tries to kill Pez, and so the elf and the orc have to team up, and they said that the next issue will probably be the end of this one, but they brought it back once before, so that's cool. Beware the Eye of Odin. Number 4. Let's see. Doug Wagner is the writer. Tim Odland is the artist. We left our adventurers with all of the Valkyries. And then the ogres bring out their big guns. With the little guy with the eyes. He's saying day, 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 but he means die, die, die. And the big guy can't see. So we get our blacksmith who gets his wish. All Vikings have the same wish, to go to Valhalla, but there's only one way to do that. And yep, he goes back and fights with the ogres and wins, and it gives us an ending that's not too shabby. I like the ending. It's pretty good. This was a nice little adventure. A bigger book too. It's only 4 issues, but it's probably more like 8. Here we are, Cradle of Filth, number 3. And we have written by Kirk Amaker, art by Abigail Larson. And this is basically the story that you should all know of Countess Elizabeth Bathory, who bathed in the blood of virgins to keep herself young forever. It's got a neat little twist that explains the deal that she made with Satan and how in the end she really got what she wanted. So it was kind of sweet for a terrible woman who kills a bunch of people and bathes in their blood. It was a little bit sweet. So I liked it. Cradle of Filth. There you go. Bloodborne 2. My son was reading these and I started reading them with this one. Let me see who did our stuff. We have written by Cullen Bunn, because he's the busiest man. I mentioned that earlier. Artwork by Piotr Kowalski. And it's a church that is getting ready to be attacked by the monsters. And the priest has a vision and a way to save them. And these monster hunter people show up. Whatever, in Bloodborne, monster hunter people show up. And at the end we get a new weird looking monster. After the church blows up. Church go boom. Artwork is gorgeous. I don't play Bloodborne, so I assume it's doing well. I did like the monster at the end that they talked about, the Lady of the Lanterns. So since that's the title, I can give that away, right? All right, Mystery of the Ultra 7, number 2, Ultraman. I was gonna say Where's my Kamen Rider comic book? But they just announced in November that Kamen Rider 01 will be getting his own comic book. So, congratulate me later. Writers are Kyle Higgins and Matt Groom. Artist is David Tinto. We get a little more origin of Ultra 7. And then Ultraman shows up to fight Ultra 7. So it's just a setup for a big fight that we'll get in the next issue. We get a couple of weird looking kaiju. Ultraman dies a couple times, or no, Ultra 7 gets shot a couple times, but he comes back. He's always better. And then there's this, and I love the artwork for this new series because this is like our third or fourth Ultraman. Also, they have promised us to bring back Inferno, if nobody remembers that from back in the day. And they've got this great, gorgeous gatefold thing for Dark Web, so I'll probably get that. Alright, let's see. I'm not reading that. What else we got in here? I'm not reading that. Let's do these last two then. We have Shirtless Bear Fighter number 2. Oh, and I think I'm missing some comic books. So, let's do this anyways. Shirtless Bear Fighter 2. And writer is Jody Lehiop. Artist is Neil Vendrell. And last we left Shirtless, he needed money for pancakes. Sorry, flapjacks. He doesn't eat pancakes. So he went to work in a pizza place that has animatronic animals. Unfortunately, the lead singer of the animatronic animals is indeed a bear. So, Shirtless Bear Fighter, right? And, yeah, there's bears in society. He has to go back and see his master, which is Master Miyagi, because he's a bee. And they wanted to make a Miyagi joke. Speaking of Miyagi, if you haven't been watching Cobra Kai, last season was great, no spoilers. And then, of course, we end up this issue with a evil Shirtless Bear Fighter. They've pixelated for your approval. I'm going to check over here real quick. Stay there, kids. I'll be right back. Yeah, see. Thought we were done. Alright. Lots of last issues of stuff, including Flavor Girls number 3. Alright, so where, let's see. Story and art by Loic Locatelli Kornwski. It's got to be wrong. It explains the first Flavor Girl and her powers and what she does. The beginning of this book is just gorgeous to look at and has zero dialogue. And then we get back into the fight with these weird flat-faced creatures, and Pineapple Girl has to prove herself, basically. So, and it's the end. They said that we might get more, but you never know. So, this is another one of those where they made the books really thick. Did they overcharge for really thick? Yeah, they did. These were $8 books. But if you went 8 times 3 is 24, so it's not too shabby if we broke it down into smaller books. Alright, here we go. Batgirls. Yay! Batgirls are back, and so's their artist. Because they had a couple issues where I did not like their artist, and I can never remember where. Here we are. Becky Cloonan and Michael W. Conrad. Remember them from Wonder Woman. Neil Googe. Googe. Neil, that's not how I say your name. I'm sorry. We get a new guy, Mr. Fun. And Batgirl and Dick Grayson flirt for a little bit. We have Killer Moth, who shows up, who apparently will not pay for premium podcast service and would just rather hear the adverts. The girls get all webbed up by the gooey, silky stuff from Killer Moth, and so that's not going well for them. Dick Grayson shows up without a shirt. Their friend shows up with boba and donuts. And this is just such a fun book. I don't read any other Bat books, but I am excited to hear about this new guy called Mr. Fun. Because they're blaming it on the Riddler, and it's not the Riddler's fault. All right. Army of Darkness versus Reanimator, Necronomicon Rising. With writer Eric Burnham. Emin Casalos is the artist. And Ash and his new lady friend have fallen through a portal which is also got the Bad Ash, but he's short Bad Ash because there's not enough of him there to make more than short Bad Ash. Plus, we get to make midget jokes that way. And they kind of run into Herbert West with him, and there are Deadites who attack them, but they are actually, unbeknownst to them, in the year 3034 in the future, where Herbert West has become the leader. He's part robot, and time travel shenanigans ensue, and the badder Herbert West picks up the Necronomicon. So we'll see what happens with that. So I don't know how many issues are in this. It doesn't say. So it doesn't say like 3 of 5 or 3 of 4. Yeah, it doesn't say. So we could have this go on for a while. Still a fun book. Daredevil 3. Daredevil 3 by Chip Zdarsky, of course. And Rafael de la Torre. And Daredevil comes to Luke Cage asking for some help. And Luke's like, no, I'm the mayor now. You get to go be helped by yourself. And then he has to fight this little assassin woman who trained Elektra back in the day, who is now on their side. And apparently the Hand are now being run by Frank Castle. And if you don't know what that name is, that is the Punisher. And so he goes to save Foggy and says, it's time for you to come with us, and we're never coming back. Oh, here we go. Do a power bomb. Number 4. I do believe this is Daniel Warren Johnson, writer, artist, creator. This is multi-dimensional wrestling, where our dimension is the only one where wrestling is fake. And our girl and her powerbomb associate have to go ahead and fight some bad guys. And so if you like wrestling, this is a very good wrestling book. If you like weird books, that even if you don't like wrestling, this is still a really weird book, and it's fun to read. It keeps piling on the drama, and we know they're going to go into a hardcore match when the bad guy, our guy on our team with the girl, shows up with a barbed wire wrapped folding chair. It very much embraces wrestling, but then it adds a little spin on it. Plus, it's the guy that did Murder Falcon, so you have to read it. Oh, here we go. Jurassic League. The pun never stops. 5 of 6. We know when this is going to be over. And our fella, Daniel Warren Johnson, is back at it. He's doing some of the stuff for this. Okay, I'm not going to remember how to say their silly dinosaur name. So the Wonder Woman dinosaur has to go back and save her people from the evil dark side. Here we go. Written by Juan Gideon and Daniel Warren Johnson. Art by Juan Gideon. And the little Robin, who's hanging out with the bat dinosaur, is either starting to learn dinosaur, or a bat dinosaur is learning to understand human, because words start to go in. Superman dinosaur. This is more fun to say it this way. Superman dinosaur gets a thing like from the old Superman movies, where he was in the Fortress of Solitude, and there's the crystal, and his father comes on and tells him, I hope you are alive, blah, 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 and tells him that he has to fight for what is good, because he wasn't going to leave the city and help Wonder Woman dinosaur. So at the end, Darkseid dinosaur is like trying to kill Paradise Island, I guess is a good way to put it, and they will have none of it. And Flash dinosaur and Aquaman dinosaur also show up. Oh, and Green Lantern dinosaur, who's got a duck bill. He's very funny looking. And Batman, because Joker dinosaur kidnapped Robin, is after Joker dinosaur and told the Justice League to go below because he's going to save the little boy. I have no idea how they're going to wrap this up in one more issue, but this has been the most fun I've read in a DC comic book in a very long time. Except for Batgirls. Batgirls was really fun. Alright, what do we got here? Moon Knight number 15. Moon Knight. With Jed MacKay as the writer and Alessandro Cappuccio as the artist. It's Moon Knight in therapy. And he'd been Moon Knight for a very long time. So now he is letting all of his guys out. Stephen Grant got to go get a haircut. Jake got to go to the bar and drink with his friends. He considers himself Mark Spector, so that's kind of nice. And they go to beat up Jake, but they don't realize that when you beat up Jake, he takes the mustache off and says, "Hi, my name's Mark." And Mark is an insane mercenary. So it's been very interesting to read this this book. And Moon Knight's getting ready to go attack all the vampires in Chinatown. So there you go. Don't worry, kids, we're almost done. Amazing Spider-Man #9! And Wolverine's in it! Wolverine, you're always in stuff, man. Let me see if I can find it. Here we go. Zeb Wells is the writer. Zeb doing a great job. Patrick Gleason is the artist. I was so happy to see somebody else. He does a great job. Favorite line in this particular thing is Spider-Man gets invited to the Hellfire Club Gala and runs into Mr. Sinister, who says, "Those webs, do they come straight out of your..." "No." "Do you want them to?" Best thing ever. So Mary Jane gets kidnapped. So Wolverine... Oh, by Mariah McTaggart, who I didn't know was evil. The last time I was any interaction with Mariah McTaggart, she was not evil, so that was mildly sad. I didn't like that part. So they have to go save Mary Jane. Mary Jane looks great. Wolverine helps out. There's some guy, Grey Crow. I don't know who that is either. He's like a cyborg, cable, long-haired, swarthy fella. And, they save the day, and Wolverine gets stabbed, but he'll be fine. And Mary Jane is still married with children. So Peter doesn't kind of get that. So that was kind of a little bit sad. Next issue, it looks like it's our guy again, John Romita Jr., and for some reason Gwen Stacy, who I wasn't sure how dead she was. So there you go. All right, here we go. Final issue. Final comic book. I thought I'd settle for the 40 years of the New Mutants being around. I remember when it first started with the graphic novel. And it was literally a graphic novel. Vita Ayala is doing the story, except for there's a Deadpool story in the back that Alyssa Wong does. Alex Lins does the frame story. Emma Kubert does the pencils for the Wolfsbane story. Robert Poggi does the inks for the Wolfsbane story. Antonio Fabella does the colors for Wolf. Oh no, I don't want that. Jason Liu does pencils, inks, and colors for the Karma story. Justin Manson does pencils and inks for the Danny Moonstar story. Jeff Shaw does the pencils and inks for the Deadpool story. And I think that covers everyone that put a thing. Because it's a New Mutant story, so it's an anniversary. Robert invites everybody onto his space yacht for a party. They all show up in swimsuits because they hear the word yacht. They don't hear the word space. And we get little flashbacks. There's why Danny and Roberto will always be friends because of something nice he did during a fight that they were in, where it was his fault that something of hers got broken. Karma, her story was about coming out, where she had her friend shave her head and dye it pink, and met a girl, and then the girl had an abusive boyfriend, so she went to save the day. Girl didn't need the help. Girl punched the hell out of that guy. Hilarious. We found out why Wolfsbane and Warlock give each other a present every year. It has nothing to do with birthdays or anything. It was just a misunderstanding about how parties work. So now they give each other a little thing, and then they go for a swim on a big beach, and then they fill up way too many pages with a big old thing of this stuff. And then finally, Deadpool shows up to babysit some baby X-Men, who they even give us names. There's Cosmar, Rainboy. Oh, that's a terrible name. Cerebels, Scout, and Anole. So he's teaching them how to fight dirty, and then the mutants show up and they're like, Deadpool, what are you doing here? And he goes, well, I'm allowed to be a mutant, you know. So it was a fun anniversary issue for issue 30 of the New Mutants. And that being said, that concludes our lengthy podcast. No. Gets rid of everything that we've got. I have disorganized the comic books in such a way that I am certain that my wife will beat me later.
No.
So there's that going for me. Well, no, I don't mean it like that. But, so, and then Sophie and Fiona, it rained, and I was going to cook out, and then I didn't. So you didn't come over, but we're having a super sleepover, not super, regular sleepover next weekend. And in the meantime, the rest of you out there, if you don't live near and around Kalamazoo and can't go to Fanfare, I hope you have a local comic book store you can go to. I'll try not to skip any more weeks because we're getting really close to issue 100 that we're going to do, episode 100 that we're going to do at Fanfare. So in the meantime, go read a comic book.